Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you are joining us from today. This is yet another episode of Being a Man, the adventure from boyhood to episode on this conversation series. And I have a wonderful topic today. Is a brother from another mother. Uh, Before I bring him on the conversation, I want to thank you for joining us from wherever you are joining in from this part of the globe. I'd like to help me leave in the comment section where you are actually joining us from. Also, I will appreciate if you have any questions, any words that resonate with you. When my girls is teaching now, rolling out his adventure from boyhood to manhood, we will appreciate you leave in the comment section. This series is about a man's journey from boyhood to manhood. We dig into their relationship with their father, the cultural influences, the circumstances in their boyhood years, and how they navigate the journey from boyhood to manhood, the bridges they cross. As you know, the greatest test of our civilization is whether or not we can cultivate our boys to become good husband, good human beings, good humanitarians, and a positive member of a tribe in society. So with that being said, I want to bring my guest to the show. And before I introduce my guest, he's a man I love so much, I respect so much. His story is quite unique. He's one person I read his book again and again, and it just takes tears from my eyes when I look at what he gives to the world now was what he never received growing up as a young man. And his name is Sensei Dave Armstrong. He is an American, but currently reside in Greece. In fact, he will tell you more about his journey to Greece as the conversation continues. But let me quickly introduce my guest. Sensei Dave began his journey in juvenile detention, foster care, and a group of home starting at an early age of 11. Wow. Shortly thereafter, his mother passed away. In fact, this is very traumatic for a boy at 11. He was left without any family or relatives. Young Dave had no hope for his future, and nothing seems to matter to him. He began running with gangs, robbing, fighting, and consistently in and out of detention. His destiny was written. He would end up like most of the youth that came from the streets, dead or in prison. After serving 24 years in the U.S. Air Force, David decided to write his autobiography. Very interesting. Why me? My fight for my life. And launch his business, Unlimited Potential Network Academy. Dave has served as Vice President, Board of Directors for nonprofit, currently serves as the Executive Director of his own martial arts mentoring program for at-risk youths. I want to call them at-hope kids, not at-risk now.
I love it.
And owned and operated several successful martial arts schools and has received several awards and accolades for his 20 years plus of service towards our youth. Please join me as I welcome Dave Armstrong. Welcome, brother. Glad to have you.
It's good to be here, brother. How you doing, Ola?
I'm good. I'm better than good as usual. I look forward to this conversation because I do know it's something that is touching to my heart. And as we explore your adventure from boyhood to manhood, or we call it authentic manhood, can you take a moment to share with us what is the best thing of being a boy to you?
The best thing of being a boy is the ability to absorb, to be mentored, to absorb, to have people pour into you and share their knowledge with you, brother. You know, look, we can do this at any age, no matter what, but when we're young and impressionable, and we have positive role models, positive examples around us, it really sparks something for us, right? It really gives us some hope, some dreams, some ability to achieve things that we want to achieve, that we see other adults, other men in the area in our lives achieving, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's for me. But is there something apart from this you said you can look at in your boyhood years and you can connect to something like your best experience of being a boy between age 1 to maybe 11?
For me personally,
Yeah.
oh wow. You know, the truth is, I had a rough childhood. I had a really rough childhood, and so I can't really reflect back on very early childhood memories and say, oh, I had a great time here, there, or something like that. But I can say that I had a couple of mentors that entered my life that ended up changing that entire dynamic. You know, Sensei Otto Johnson was my martial arts instructor.
We were going to get there. we were going to get there. I have some things about these people that I want to talk about. But tell us about your experience losing your mother at a very young age. You know? Losing your mom as a boy. And what are these things that only you can remember your mother for? You know, kind of memories you can connect to that.
Yeah, I mean, losing my mom was traumatic. You know, even though she wasn't the best mother that one could have been, she was still my mom. You know, she was still my mom, and frankly, my only family member. So I had no other family. I had no aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, anyone else. So it was just me and my mom for a long time, until she ended up marrying this guy, Russell. And Russell used to beat her and beat me all the time. I mean, he used to put me in a headlock, you know, and give me knuckle sandwiches, bah, 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 hit me on the top of my head. And it was rough. It was really rough. And that's what ended up pushing me out on the streets, pushing me into gangs, pushing me into running the streets and doing stuff that I shouldn't have been doing, because I had no reason to be at home, right? And so if you have no reason to be at home, if you have no reason to be wherever you are, and this bleeds over into different facets of life. Think about this. If you're married to someone that you despise, you don't mesh, right? You're married to somebody that you just don't mesh with. And you have to be around them at home, brother. These are the people that are staying at work late, right? They're done with work. They don't need to leave, but 2 hours later they're coming home because there's no reason to be at home, right? You know that your home environment, whoever is there waiting for you, your husband, your wife, your mom, your dad, whoever it is going to put pressure onto you. And so you say, I don't need to be around that, right? I don't need to be at home. And so I started running the streets. And this is why most young men are running the streets, or doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing, getting into stuff that they shouldn't be doing.
We're already getting so much. We are diving so fast into this conversation than I ever think. You know, Bro Dave, I read your book, Why Me? My Fight for My Life.
Yeah.
And your father left you at the age of 7, and you painted a scenario of what led to him driving off with a girl in front of the car and never came back, and you never sighted your eyes on him. And you feel this sense of abandonment almost immediately. And a lot of questions was running through your mind. Perhaps you never deserve a father who should take care of you, who should take you through the journey of manhood. You know, I find that to be very interesting in the book. My question to you is that what can be done about this continuous father absent gap in boys?
Yeah, this is when, look, I can't control what other people do, right? I can only control what I do. And if everyone said, you know what, I can make a difference in someone's life. Every well-adjusted man, right? Every well-adjusted woman for young girls, right? It's important to have women and men role models, male and female role models. It's very important. And we know the statistics, they're horrible, behind women that are raising young men. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And I know that there's a lot of single moms out there, and they're doing their best. They're doing everything they can. And there's an absentee dad. And it's not mom's fault. She's doing what she can. She's doing her best. She's trying. I would say get a male role model in his life. I think that is, not think, I know, statistically we all know that works. That we see huge differences, a total different outcome for young men that have a positive male role model in his life. And so I think all of us, men, young men, can step up to the plate and go, you know what, I'm going to go hang out with Ola and the kids that he's mentoring every week. I'm just going to go in 2 hours, and you're going to build a relationship, a bond. You're going to set an example. These kids are going to look and go, oh, that's how a guy acts. Okay. That's how, okay, let me mimic that. Boy, that's powerful.
Boy. In that same your book, I want everyone who listen or who is part of this conversation, so please go get this book. Why Me? My Fight for My Life.
Hey, look, anyone that's here, sorry to interrupt. Anyone that's here that can't afford the book, email me at info@upna.net, and I'll give you a free copy of the book. I'm not trying to get rich off the book. I want people to get the book. I want people to receive the book. I want people's lives and kids' lives to change from the book. And the book isn't just for adults. The book is for youth that are going through the system. I just got an email just now from a young lady. She says, hey, Sensei Dave, I can't afford to get a book right now. I heard about your book. I really want, boom, I sent my assistant an email. Hey, will you please send the book to this? I don't care about the money. I want you to get the book, and I want your life to change, or I want you to be able to change someone's life from reading this book.
Wow. Thank you for that privilege and the opportunities that you have just granted to anyone on this call as the conversation continues. In that same book, you mentioned 2 men, Ron Bannick and Sensei Arthur Johnson, that serve as your transitional fathers. Describe what you cherish about them and what you wish to preserve, or what you have preserved about these 2 men.
Ola, I want everyone, including you, to see every time I hear those two names in my entire life, I have the biggest smile and the biggest joy in my heart. And just imagine being able to provide that to some youth in 20 years when they hear your name. Both of them have passed on. They're not even living anymore. But every time I hear Sensei Otto Johnson and Ron Barnick, I smile and my heart is joyful. And I want everyone that's listening to this to understand that you can have that impact into a youth's life. You can cause a young man or a young woman to smile every time they hear your name. My goodness. Ola. I mean, I hope that I've done that in my lifetime. I think I have. I think there's adults and youth that when they hear Sensei Dave Armstrong, they smile, they light up. I hope that that's the truth. And that's what I wake up every day and I try to be impactful to young and old, right? I try to make sure that, boy, I give, because Ola, I should be dead. You know what I'm saying? Like, I shouldn't even be here. I shouldn't even be here.
I know.
So when I think about Otto and I think about Ron and I think about the fact that all they did was show up and they tried. They said, hey, here's this little badass kid that's getting pushed from one group home to another, from one juvenile detention center to another. Nobody wanted to deal with little bad Dave. No one. I was always in trouble, always doing stuff, and they both stayed with it. They both were like, hey, Dave, you know what? We're here for you. We're here, and yeah, you're gonna do some stupid stuff, and you're gonna tell us to F off, and you're gonna do it, but we're here for you. And knowing that someone is loving you unconditionally. Oftentimes we don't explore this true agape love, right? This unconditional love, like, hey, you know what? Maybe I can't be with you, husband, wife, but I love you. Agape. That's a Greek word for love, agape. And that's true love. In the Bible, not that I'm super religious, but they talk about agape love. And that's that true in your heart, no matter what, unconditional Sensei Otto Johnson and Ron Barnick love for little badass Dave. They just showed up consistently, man. And look at what they did. I don't say like oh, yeah, I'm rich and retired in Greece and you know whatever. No, brother. I don't care about that because I know I shouldn't be here, right? And I know that I'm only here because they showed me that agape love. They showed up consistently, Ola. They said, you know what? Yeah, you did some stupid stuff. We love you. Right now, I don't like you right now, but I love you. Right now, you cutting up, but I love you. Man, it's powerful. Just what one person can do.
I can see the influence of two individuals that have influenced your life and changed the trajectory of your circumstance, and now it has given a much better outcomes for your life. Someone is asking to join this call with you on video. Am I permitted? Yeah. So let me bring this person on, and is a father to me as well, and it's been very wonderful.
Is it Russ?
In terms of
I think it's Russ.
No, it's not Russ. It's Mike Nisbet. I think he will join us as soon as I've just sent him his acceptance, and perhaps he's going to join us too. So you talk about these people. You also talk about in that your book how you and Eddie were caught by police and you had to run. You had to run for your life.
I was running.
I was going to paint this scenario in terms of if somebody watching a movie when I was reading that part of the book, and I can imagine how horrible it is trying to escape for your life, and all of a sudden Eddie was caught, and at the point where he was handcuffed, and you are trying to watch him, you just took to your heels, just run, and all of a sudden you got to hide somewhere, and you hit yourself somewhere. After all of this, you were caught, and you were taken by the police, and you were charged for felony, assault of felony with deadly weapon at the age of is it 11 or
11 years old. Yeah, 11 years old. Felony armed robbery with a deadly weapon.
Yes.
Felony, yeah. It's in the book.
Yeah.
I have a picture.
What is it like to be in juvenile detention and also growing up in a foster care?
Yeah. So they both suck. They both suck. There's nothing good about being locked in a cell. There's nothing good about being told when you're going to eat, when you're going to sleep, what you're going to eat, when you're going to get up, when you're going to see sunshine, when you're going to like walk out and see people. Like there's nothing fun about that. And I try, I go into juvenile detention centers and I try to change these young men and women's lives, right? I go in there and I have a program called Inspire to Aspire, youth empowerment program. It's all about intrinsic motivation, providing intrinsic motivation and the skills for these young men and young women to never end up back in juvenile detention. But it pains me every time I go into a detention center and I see these kids in handcuffs, locked in a pod, not seeing the sunlight when they want. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. And the truth is about 70 to 85% of these young men and young women will end up in prison. 70 to 85% of them that are in detention will be in prison. Man, that's why I started the program, actually, is because I read this statistic and I thought there's no way. That's really high. I think that's just a little misleading. And then I started investigating, and it went from 70%. In the article, it said 70% to 85% in some states. Wow, man, wow.
But today, the gang lifestyle draws young people from all walks of life. That's the gang lifestyle, including socio-economic background. You can say, and races and ethnic group, even some high levels individual. Gangs are a problem, not only for law enforcement officers, but also for the community. Can you help us explain what a gang is, the sign of a gang involvement and gang activities, and what we can do to stem future gang violence?
Yes. Wow. Profound questions. Yes. So what is a gang? A gang is a group of individuals, usually that have some commonality, right? And so sometimes I will go into a state. I was just in a state in the States last month, and we were talking. They said, look, our gang problem isn't huge. And look, it's not Los Angeles, right? It's not LA where you grew up, or San Bernardino where you grew up. And I said, whoa, wait a minute. The truth is that a bullet is a bullet. They all kill the same, right?
Yeah.
These young kids, these young men and women that are joining gangs all have the same commonality. It doesn't matter if they're in Los Angeles or if they're in a little, town in some other state. And so the problem is a problem no matter how big the epidemic is in your area. And so anyone that's watching this, I never want you to feel like you don't need to get involved, or there doesn't need to have, be something that's drastically different that needs to happen about the gang involvement or the gang culture in your small or big place, right? It matters no matter what, because a bullet is a bullet. They all kill the same. And so a lot of youth end up going into a group, a gang, because much like I wanted a family. I was robbed of a family, right? I didn't have a family. I didn't have anyone at home. The stepdad that I had at home was beating me. My mom was always drunk. So why wouldn't I go seek a family? Acceptance. If you know about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, one of those needs is the need for safety and the need for love, like compassion. And a gang provides safety and love. And so a lot of young men and young women will go join a gang because that's what they're lacking at home. That's what they're lacking in their environment, is that safety, that love, that need for belonging is important. The need for acceptance is important. And so when you don't have those components at home, you're going to go try to find them somewhere else, right? And so what can we do?
Yeah, about the activities. What are their usual activities? You know, in your case, was it gang that really influenced the firing, the robbing? Was it gang, or was it hunger, or what was the normal gang activities like?
Gang activities range from just hanging out on a street corner and you know, being a little disruptive, all the way to organized crime. And I'm talking millions of dollars trafficking through gangs in some states in the United States. So, you know, you can have a gang that is just hanging out on the corner. You can have a gang that is selling a little bit of drugs here or there, or robbing people here and there, or you can have a gang that is a mafia style, no joke, organized enterprise. So the range of what gang is, it really is dynamic.
So what can we do to stem the future of gang violence?
Well, you know, I often, when I talk with leaders, right, people that are decision makers, I always make sure that they understand that I don't want to put a Band-Aid on the problem, right? And
okay.
So what do I mean by that? I can have a program that makes kids feel good, right? It's a program that takes kids from the inner city and provides them some relationships and community involvement, maybe a community center and something like that. And I don't say that those things aren't important, right?
Okay.
But it's a Band-Aid. So why do they need a community center? Well, they're running the streets. Well, why are they running the streets? Well, they don't really have a positive environment to like be in. Do you know how many kids that are in group homes and foster homes, or you know, in the hood, that can't even study at home? Mom and dad are fighting all the time. 5, 6 siblings in and out of the house. And I'm trying to study for an exam. I'm trying to take AP classes, advanced placement classes. I'm trying to go to college. And you go, well, how come we don't have more kids in the inner city going to universities? Well, Jesus Christ. You know, for me, there were freaking gunshots all the time. I remember having cops come to our door one time and open, you know, but my mom goes to the door, go in the bathroom and hide in the tub. And they're having a shootout in the apartment complex, and they're shooting up to the other apartments upstairs, like 4th, 5th, 6th floor. Boom, 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 boom. So when the kid, and I was young, I wasn't even 12 years old. So when a kid is experiencing this, when a kid is experiencing hunger, right? There's plenty of times where we're not fed, malnutrition. I was just meeting with a guy named Greg. He does canned water for kids, a beautiful, huge nonprofit. And we were talking, and he was talking about how there's a lot of lead in the water in inner cities. And the lead causes other problems like focus, like ADHD, like all of this stuff. So, you know, I could put a Band-Aid on the problem. I could say, here's some clean drinking water. Well, what about the other 10 things that are creating this problem, right? And so the truth is, if you're talking about evidence-based, so things that have worked, we know definitively that mentorship works. When you see someone that has made it, it gives you hope. Someone that has come from where you have come from, that can relate to your struggles, and they are there. They're all of a sudden, they are like where you could only imagine. And the truth is, I couldn't even imagine where I am now. Couldn't even imagine it, right? So when they see that, when you're a mentor, when you get involved, and it doesn't need to be an official mentoring program. That would be good. Those are structures, and you'd learn a lot. But the truth is, if you have a neighbor, a friend, a niece, a nephew, somebody that you know can use your time to better the rest of their lives, why not show up for them? And it doesn't take a lot. It's not like you have to adopt them. It's not like you have to, put a new extension on your house to create a new room or something. No, you just have to show up. You just have to show up and say, you know what, I'm going to be there for this young man or young woman. 1 hour a week, 5 hours a week. I'm going to show him or her what the other side of the tracks look like. Because a lot of us in this environment don't believe we can. We don't believe we can. The kids that you're mentoring, they're in Nigeria.
Yeah.
They don't believe they can until they see someone like Ola showing up and helping kids and doing this stuff and making connections and going live on Facebook and on Instagram and all, and they go, wow, I'm not bound to just this, right? Because most of what they see are their family, their brothers, their sisters that are not, the older people that are not doing well. And they go, okay, well, I guess this is just how my life is supposed to be. Okay.
Wow. It's been so amazing exploring your adventure, Bro David. I tell you, it's been so amazing. This will resonate with me for a very long time, and as well as for people who have to watch this after this conversation. Was schooling important to you? Why? And how did education improve your life? You know, in the midst of all of you gone through, how did you get back into schooling, and how has education improved your life?
Yeah, I'll tell you, Ola, the one thing that I wish I would have had a little sooner is the understanding of the importance of education. I wish that I understood how important that was. The reason why I say that is I had to wait 6 months after I took a test to join the Air Force. So in the Air Force, in the military in general in the United States, you have to take a test. And the Air Force, the bar of passing to get in is a little higher than it is in the Army or the Marines or the Navy. It's just a little, requires a little more academic, right? And I failed this test. And I wanted to join the Air Force. I didn't want to join the Army or the Marines or the Navy. I wanted to join the Air Force. But I didn't pass the test. And they said, well, you got to wait 6 months and then retest. And then in the meantime, you need to study the ASVAB, Armed Services Vocational Battery exam. ASVAB. Anyways, Armed Services test. And so I had to wait. I was homeless. I was living in a trailer in my girlfriend at the time's field. Her mom and dad had a field, and they had this abandoned trailer, and that's where I was living. And I had to wait 6 months. And the real problem, Ola, was I couldn't hang around with my boys for 6 months because I know they were smoking weed. I couldn't hang around in the hood for 6 months because I knew that if I got picked up for something, guess what? Now I have an adult record, and I can't go in the Air Force. I can't get in the Air Force. So I had to lock myself in the trailer. I worked at HVAC, heating and air conditioning. I went to work, and I came home. I studied. I worked out. That's it. I didn't do anything for 6 months, but that was so hard, man. Most of us can't do that because we're tempted. We're tempted to be around our friends. We're tempted to be around the things that we know, the things that are comfortable for us, the things that we want in our lives, we think. So we're tempted.
Yeah.
But I had to say, I can't do that, right? And so when I joined the Air Force, when I finally got in, I went to my first duty station, and my supervisor, I remember his name to this day, Andrew Hunter. And Andrew said to me, "Hey Dave, let's talk real quick." "Yes, sir." He said, "I don't want you to be offended by this, but I want to ask you, can you read and write?" "Not really." He said, "Yeah, I kind of figured so, because there's a lot of, grammar mistakes, and, some stuff is off." And the Air Force is amazing, man. I wish I could be an advocate for the Air Force on a global scale, because instead of going, "Hey Dave, you got to go. You can't even read. We can't use you." Andrew says, "Hey, we're going to set you up with some remedial college English courses for you to take. Air Force is going to pay for it. All you got to do is show up." I went during my lunch hour 3-4 days a week to the base education center, and I learned how to read and write. And ever since then, my thirst for knowledge, not just academic knowledge like in a classroom setting, but knowledge, has just consistently grown. Every day it grows. Like this, there's not enough that I can learn and do and know. There's just not, I just want more and more and more, right? I want to read this article. I want to experience. I want to talk to these people. I want to go visit this country. Boy, there's.
So was that as a result of your early lack of interest in education that creates that hunger for more, or because of your appetite to pass the Air Force exams?
Well, so it was the latter. So when a lot of times when we are growing up in the hood, education's not truly emphasized, right? It's not truly important. So mom and dad will say, "Go to school," but they can't even help the kids with the homework, right? What's algebra? I don't remember algebra. Forget it. Go ask your sister or something. I didn't have anybody to ask. So it's pushed, but it's not really pushed. It's very different. When I pushed education with my kids, it was extremely important to me. So as I'm cooking dinner, I have my daughter, I remember when she was 4 or 5 years old, reading to me as she's sitting on the counter and I'm cooking. She still remembers this. We talk about it. Me and my daughter talk about this. "Oh, Dad, I remember you used to have me read to you when I'm sitting." And so she loves education. She has a hunger for it. But the truth is, Ola, what happens is we release endorphins. Endorphins make us feel good. And so when we do a good job at something like passing the exam for the Air Force and getting in the Air Force, it makes you feel good. It releases endorphins. And then you go, well, shit, what did I do? Oh, I studied. Okay, maybe I'll do this studying thing again. And then man, I went and got a psychology degree at 46 years old. 46, right? I wanted to be a life coach. So I found a university online. Ashford University in Virginia, and I did a psychology course with an emphasis on life coaching. Now, the reason why I tell you this is I made the dean's list. I got straight A's, man, at 46 years old. I know. I have the letter. I have a video with the letter. Twice I made the dean's list, and it's not because I'm smart. I'm not a smart. My son is far smarter than me. Raw intelligence, far smarter. There's far smarter people in the universe than in the world than I am. The thing that I am is I'm a hard worker, and so I know I'm honest with myself. And even to
Okay.
this day, I don't spell and read very well. I can, it's okay, I get by, but without Microsoft Word, without Grammarly, boy, I would have a lot of spelling mistakes, right? But I use those tools, and I will stay up until midnight writing a report. I don't care, 2 o'clock in the morning, it's like whatever, I don't care. I want an A. I like the endorphins that are released when I do a good job. And so I say I'm doing a good job at everything. Everything.
Okay.
Because
I like the fact that you share this with me, honestly, and with the audience. It's very inspiring. It means no matter how old you are, you can still connect with your purpose, your interest.
yeah,
And that will
absolutely.
lead me to the next question I'm going to ask you, Mr. Dave, is how did you explore issues of meaning, value, and purpose after your service here in the USF?
Oh yeah, Ola, you and I talked a little bit about this the other day, man. Look, to anyone that look, I retired early, right? So I was in my 40s. I was 42 when I retired, and I didn't need to work anymore. And to a lot of people, that's like, wow, like this is it. I'm done. And so I retired to Greece. And I had a plan, right? I've always had a plan. I'm a planner. I've always had a plan. And my wife and I were talking the other day, and we're talking about how hard it is getting this program for at-risk youth off the ground. It is the nonprofit that I started. And it's hard, and it's a lot of work, and I'm trying to connect and do some stuff. And she says, well, the one thing in the 12 years that I've known you is I know that you get what you want. And I go, oh, yeah, I get what I want. And it's not because I'm better than anyone or anything. It's because the things that I want in life are important, right? I wanted to retire and not have to work. That was important. So what did I do? What did I sacrifice? What did I have to do in order to really see that come to fruition? Right? I want this mentoring program. I had a mentoring program for martial arts mentoring program for at-risk youth. I had a board of directors look at me and say, Sensei Dave, we love you, but you're not going to take our kids that are in jail to your martial arts school to teach them how to fight. Thanks, bye. And I'm going, wait, look. The program's not just this, right?
Yeah.
And it ended up happening. So Vasiliki, my wife, says you get what you usually get what you want, and I've kind of usually do. I've really, and it's because I don't give up. I don't know what give up means. Like I don't know, and it sounds a little cliche, but man, the truth is I know how to set goals. I teach a whole goal setting course to adults and kids. It's part of the curriculum for the kids that are in juvenile detention. And so part of that is knowing how to chunk your goals so it releases dopamine every time you achieve a small goal. And that dopamine drives, it's a driver for the next goal. And then eventually you hit all of the goals and then your big goal. And you go, wow, that was fun. Because I want to look back at my life and go, that was fun. We're all going to expire, right? Are we going to be on our deathbed going, I wish I would have. I wish I would have. I did. I don't want to do that, man. I don't want to do that, and I have the ability to not do that, right? And so I don't give up. The things that I want are important. They're important to me, and then important to the world. So why would I give up? So education was huge and important. And when I retired,
we're talking about life after your retirement.
Yeah.
When you go back from work, now you are home alone. You have nothing to do. Was there any form of loneliness, depression setting in?
Yeah, I was depressed.
Then after that, there is a question from one of our one member of the audience. There's a comment. There's a question in the comment section rather, and say, how were you able to overcome those stereotypes being from the hood?
So how was I? I'll answer that right now. How was I able to overcome those stereotypes from being from the hood? Look, stereotypes come from somewhere, right? They're not. A lot of them are not just total 100% lies. So there are some stereotypes that they just come from somewhere. And so the truth is, most of us in the hood can't read or write. Most of us from the hood don't speak articulately. Most of us from the hood don't have degrees. Most of us from the hood aren't doing well. Statistically, we know that. And so, look, I'm a very different person when I'm speaking to one of my boys that I grew up with, right? So I know how to put a suit on. I know how to tie my tie and walk into a boardroom and pitch a program for $100,000. I know how to do that. I also know how to sit down with a bunch of kids that are from the hood and speak as they speak. And so as you evolve as a person, as you change, as you mold, as you shape yourself, you can shape yourself into different things, to be different things. You don't always have to be, you know, this is just me. I had a video that I put out. I don't know if I sent it or if I posted it, but you know, when people say, this is just me, take it or leave it, right? This is just who I am. I go, well, you can't change tomorrow? You can't be someone else tomorrow?
Yeah.
Why not? Why not? You know, I knew what my statistics were supposed to be coming from the hood, going from group home to foster home, juvenile detention home center to juvenile detention center. I know what my statistics were supposed to be. I was supposed to be dead or in prison. I know that. But how did I evolve? How do I go, you know what? I'm not going to be this stereotype. I'm not going to perpetuate that, and I don't want it for me. Is it serving me, right? Is it serving me to have my pants hanging down half off my ass? Is it serving me? No. It's just what we did, but it's not serving me.
Got you, brother. Thanks so much for that. Yeah, you've experienced the peaks and the valleys of life or in life. You know, I remember when you talked about your surgery on your back and all the pains you go through. And I kind of want to ask you, how do you get through all of this? All of these things, and if you look back right now, what will you consider as your greatest achievement?
So let me for anyone that's watching, and they haven't read the book. So after I retired, I was depressed, clinically depressed for about 2 years. And it wasn't because I retired, but the accumulation of everything at the same time. I had I had a broken spine, literally broken spine, no disc in between, bone on bone, shifted over 50%. And I couldn't walk for over 20 minutes. I couldn't walk anywhere, Ola, for more than 20 minutes. And so not only what was I dealing with the pain and pain pills every day, but think about the anxiety that precedes you doing anything, right? The anxiety that you're going to have knowing that you can't do anything for more than 20 minutes. Oh, I couldn't sit for more than 20, 30 minutes. So when we go out to dinner, and dinner here in Greece is 2 hours, I'm leaving the dinner. I have to go sit in the car. How many weddings have I been to that I couldn't do it anymore? My back was hurting so much. I'm taking pain pills. I'm a little all of it, and I got to leave and go sit in the car so I can recline a little bit because my back is is hurting so bad, it's intolerable. And so right after I retired for 2 years before my surgery, I just spent in agonizing misery because of my back. And then I have this surgery, and now I'm a little better, but I'm still limited. Well, I've been an athlete all my life. I've been a martial artist all my life. I've been a military guy all my life. I've been a gym rat all my life. Now I can't do that stuff anymore.
Wow.
So your identity is stripped from you. And not just one identity that I had, several. Being a martial artist was stripped from me. Being in the military was stripped from me. Being active was stripped from me. Being able to go to the gym and work out and be this, guy, that was stripped from me. Well, all of those things were incorporated into my identity, who I was. And that's hard to deal with. And so, of course, you're going to be a little sad and depressed and lost. And so I spent 1.5, 2 years depressed and hurting, miserable. And then after I got the back surgery.
What gets you through all of this? Where do you draw your mental fortitude from? How did you...
Hola. I don't know, man. I wish I could wave a magic wand and share with everyone exactly what would give them the resiliency, the mental fortitude, the dedication to themselves as I have and have had in my life. I don't know. You know, I just know that I don't give up. I don't know what give up means. And so I lose all the damn time. I lose constantly. And the martial arts taught me that I'm going to lose. There's always somebody badder than you, somebody bigger than you, faster than you, can kick harder than you. Always. And so even when I'm winning tournaments, sweeping tournaments, I was competing all over the state, going to different states, winning these big tournaments, somebody eventually came along and said, Dave, guess what? I'm a little better than you. And every time that happened to me, I said, oh, now I get to learn. So every loss was just a learning ability for me. I was able to learn something from it and go, guess what? I'm leaning to the right a little. I need to put my hand up a little more. I need to move. And so it always gave me the opportunity to improve. And so that's what every loss is the opportunity to improve. And so after being depressed for 1.5, 2 years and my back surgery and all of this stuff, I said, you know what? Am I going to give up? I got to adjust. I got to figure out how to do this. And thank God, thank the universe that I'm not on pain medication anymore. My back still sucks. I still can't, do a lot. But I figured out a rhythm of how to do what and when, and it works. It works. And so I think that's the key is when we suffer these setbacks, we learn from it and then we adjust. And we go, okay, what do I need to do? What else? How do I need to manage this? What adjustments do I need to make? Because the alternative to that is I give up. And I gave up for 1.5 years, man. I didn't like who I was when I gave up and I was a real failure, because that's real failure, right? When you give up, that's failing. Let's just be.
When you give up, that's failure. I love that. I love the way you put that.
Thank you. But that's the truth.
Yeah.
When you give up, you have failed. When you're still in the fight, you've just suffered a loss and a learning opportunity. Boom, get back up on that horse.
Yeah. Let's take a little bit of reflection of, being a man who serves ice cream in a food and drug store.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. That was me.
That was you. So tell us about what you enjoyed serving ice cream in a food and drug store.
Oh man, I got good memories from that job too, man. Everybody,
So,
if you haven't read the book, if you guys haven't seen this book, read it, you got to get it. It's on Amazon. It's available in Walmart as well as Barnes and Noble. But what Ola's talking about is when I was one of my first jobs. I was working at some place not in existence anymore called Thrifty's, and I worked serving ice cream at Thrifty's. And boy, I served the best ice cream ever. People used to want to wait; they would wait till I came on to get
wow.
their ice cream because I would always give huge scoops, man. The company probably didn't like me for that, but the customers loved me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a great experience. I was going to really connect with that and see how it all turned out to what you are today. And we're going to be wrapping up very soon. I thank all the audience that are there, wherever you are joining us from. I would love that you help me leave in the comment section below to know more about what we do and how you can support our projects with boys. I just put the link on there. You can click on the link to Dave has been a huge supporter of what we do in Africa. In fact, I can't just thank you, for everything you do for us. And so, if you have any comments, any questions for Dave, or you want to know more about this Being a Man project, please you can click on this link that is pinned on the comment section, and you go. Yeah, we have about 3 questions to go for, and
All right, I'm here.
We call it. A day with this show today. The first one is that as a psychologist, you've been a vision of hope for young men, young people, especially at risk or at hope boys. How can men provide positive psychological nourishment and support for boys feeling hopeless?
Okay. So let me make sure we correct. I'm not a psychologist. I just got a bachelor's degree, so I don't want. You're not a psychologist, until you have a master's or a PhD. But with someone with some psychology and neurobiology, I love neurobiology. So someone with that type of background, how can we impact our youth in a better way? That's what you're asking,
Yeah.
huh?
Yes. How do you support boys feeling hopeless?
So, what's the opposite of hopeless?
To be hopeful.
Supply hope. It's so simple, right? And we complicate this a lot. There's a lot of people, a lot of programs, a lot of things, and we're trying to get into the psychology of this, that, and the other, and they're hopeless, or they're doing this and that, and I go, well, what are they waking up and hopeful for? Because if you have nothing to be hopeful of or for, you're going to be hopeless.
Yeah.
When you're hopeless, you become apathetic. And so let's picture this, and especially in the United States, this is a huge problem. Huge problem. When someone feels like he or she is hopeless, I don't like school, I don't have friends, I don't have a good environment around me. That's the start, right? And they go, okay, well, I guess I'll just play video games in my bedroom all day, or I guess I'll surf the internet. And then they're surfing the internet and they find witchcraft. Oh, maybe this is interesting. And then all of a sudden, 6 months later, they're a Wiccan or a warlock, and they're doing witchcraft. Whatever. And I'm just using witchcraft as one thing, but whatever it is. Oh, drugs. Oh, alcohol. Oh, whatever it is. It's because they're hopeless. And eventually that hopelessness becomes apathy. Here's the scary part. Here's scary. Not for everyone, but when they become apathetic, this is when they get guns and go into schools and shoot everyone and then shoot themselves. This is when, for me, I could rob you, beat you up, whatever. I didn't care about you because I had no reason to care about you. I didn't care about me. Why the hell am I going to care about you, a stranger, when I don't even care about me? Why don't I care about me? Well, look at everybody else that hasn't cared about Dave. Look at everyone else that just walks by and ignores you. Look at all these kids that are playing video games in their bedroom by themselves all day, every day. They're ignored. Why wouldn't they feel hopeless? They want to be seen. Everyone wants to be seen. Why can't we all take a minute and see each other? See each other. Because when you're seen, you feel like you have worth. When you have worth, you don't feel hopeless. When you don't feel hopeless, you can be hopeful. You can be
when
hopeful.
You have worth. You can say that again, brother. When you have worth, you don't feel hopeless.
No. When you have a reason to get up every day and do something, when you figured out what your why is, when you figured out what you like and you don't like, and you go, I don't like this and I do like this, let me pursue this. Oh, I got a mentor that plays the violin. Let me see what she's doing today. You know what? Oh yeah, Samantha, can we practice? Yes, let's practice. And then 3-4 hours of your day is gone practicing the violin. Well, what's the void of that? Hopelessness. Hopelessness, then apathy. And then this is why we get these school shootings. You know, I was talking about putting Band-Aids over things. Everyone wants to put a Band-Aid over their problem, right? Or over a problem. A Band-Aid. Well, you can't put a Band-Aid on an artery that's gushy, right? The Band-Aid doesn't work. And so what we do is we put Band-Aids over the fact that kids are feeling hopeless. Why are they feeling hopeless? They're not seen. Nobody values them. No one just says, hey, let's talk. Let's go have some ice cream and just hang out. And I'm talking about mom, dad, aunt, uncle, neighbor, whoever. Formal mentoring program, whatever, whoever it is. Let me just hear you, young man. Hear you, young woman. Oh, you think you're interested in playing the piano? I have a friend that plays. Yeah, let's go. Let's see what they're doing. Let's connect you. And you know, I just got an email right now. I just got an email from the guy Greg, that I told you about, that has this canned water for kids, right? This huge organization, and he just CC'd me on an email to the mayor of Milwaukee, right here.
Wow!
Just CC'd me, all from one conversation that we had week before last, because he sees the value in me. We all want to be seen.
Yeah.
See our
kids. I'm going to have a second episode of your conversation, because there's so much to give. A lot of people have seen preach it. A lot of people are just giving a fantastic comment about your participation in this conversation, and it's been very, very loaded with information, education, inspiration, and motivation as well. As we draw close, I want to take your attention to this. I don't know how you feel about it, but if your parents had not separated or divorced, would you have become a different man that you are today?
If my parents weren't separated or divorced?
If your parents had not separated or divorced, would you have become a different man than who you are today?
Probably. I'm glad they did, though, because I love who I am today. I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change anything about my life, man. Not a second. Not not a split, nothing that has happened to me. Look at where I am, who I am, what I've done, how many people I've impacted, the good that I've done in the world. Nah, man, if I were to change that, if I could turn back the hands of time and tweak something and change something, I don't know if I would have been able to impact the thousands of youth and adults that I've been able to impact. And then so by me being selfish and saying, I don't want to go through all of that I went through. I want my parents to be together and I want to have a normal life. And then that means that I'm selfish. And I would have robbed the people that are on this call now, the people that I've mentored, the programs that I've had, all the stuff that I've done. I'm robbing them because I'm selfish. Get the hell out of here. Come on. No, I wouldn't change anything.
Wow. Wow. People are already saying they're looking forward to the chapter 2 of this conversation. I tell you, it's amazing. Dave, see, brother, I want to ask this. Tell us one thing no one else knows about you.
One thing that no one
to learn about you.
I don't know. I'm such an open book. Like literally, I love talking about the experiences that I've had in order to help other people. So I share so much, man. I don't, sometimes my wife is like, don't post that or don't share that. And I'm going, well, I don't care, because if someone else can read the post or draw something from that experience that I've had, then I'm happy. Like that brings me joy. Like getting messages going, you know, I love this or that, or reading comments on my book or whatever. That's what brings me joy. Knowing that I'm impactful to other people. Because man, Ola, I got a good life, man. I've built a good life, and I want everyone to have this type of confidence and tenacity and life and experience and everything. I want everyone on the planet to have that. I really do. I wish that I had a magic wand, because I know people are suffering from depression. People are suffering from low self-confidence, or, you know, and that drives into, you know, think about low self-confidence. When you're not self-confident, what does that impact? That impacts your job, right? Things that make you money. Hopefully, you have a job that you love, but most likely you don't, because your confidence is low, so you've never pursued something that you really love to do because it's scary, right? And so, and then, whoa, and so now I don't have the relationship that I want. I don't have the boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife that I really want. Maybe I got married, but it was kind of an accident to somebody that I'm not really messed with. And so I kind of have this life that's unintentional. Oh. Unintentional life?
Yeah.
Life?
Yeah. Someone just sent in this question before we call it a day. Say, how has being vulnerable helped with your development in men?
How has being vulnerable helped me develop as a man? You know what? Great question. I've never thought about that, and so I need a second to reflect. And as I'm thinking about that, you know, part of being a man is to know your strengths and weaknesses, right? And
understanding the positive mirrors.
Yeah.
This also has to do with your sense of identity. You know,
huge.
Yeah. Then your social skills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you're in a tribe, right?
Yeah.
And you have 10 guys, 10 males, strong males, right? Well, they're not all built the same. Some are bigger, some are taller, some are faster, some are stronger. And so if I got to go catch dinner, right? And so let's use dinner, you know, a deer is dinner, right? And I got to go chase a deer down. Maybe one guy on the tribe can run really fast, and this is not true, but run really fast and catch the deer, right? But maybe that guy's thin and he can't pick the deer up. But the other big guy guy that's really strong. He can't run that fast, but he can put the deer on his back and walk all of it, back to the tribe. Another group member of the tribe says, "Oh, I don't have any problem cutting the deer up and cooking. I really enjoy that." But the big guy and the fast guy says, "I don't want anything to do with blood. I don't want to see the gutting the deer. I don't want anything to do with that." And so my point is, when you're vulnerable and you go, "You know what? I just can't run that fast," or "You know what? I can't pick that thing up. I'm not strong enough. Not right now. Maybe I could work on it, but I can't." Or, "Hey, I don't like blood. Like, I'm not. I can get it. I can shoot it. I can whatever, but I don't want to. I don't want to gut it, and I can't do it." And when you're vulnerable with each other, and it's necessary to be vulnerable in a tribe, you can't hide your lack of ability in something, because everyone knows. 10 guys, we're all going to know each other and what our strengths and weaknesses are. And so when you're saying, "I'm weak in this area," you're being vulnerable, but you're just being realistic. I wasn't born huge, right? Or I was born huge, but I'm not a fast runner. You're thin and you have long legs and you could run. And so why is everyone, I look at society, especially right now, and depression rates are through the roof for young girls. Young girls. Why? Well, Instagram. Well, why Instagram? Well, everyone has a fake life on Instagram. No one's vulnerable on Instagram. Everyone is picture perfect. And now we even have filters. And we put these filters in, and I look different. I was at a wedding, a baptism or a wedding. I think it was a baptism, not too long ago. Beautiful young girl and her friend. Both of these girls are absolutely drop-dead gorgeous, 19 and 18 years old. I'm Uncle Dave to them. "Uncle Dave, let's take a video real quick." "Okay, yeah, let's go Instagram video." Okay. And when I saw the video, so what the hell is that? Who is that? What? And I said, "You got a filter on? What is that thing?" I didn't look like me. And here are these two drop-dead gorgeous young girls with the filter. And I go, what is that? How can you compete? You're competing with yourself and you can't even win. What is this?
Wow.
What is this? And so we're all going to get older. So this 19-year-old's going to be 21. She's not going to look 19 when she's 21. She's not going to look 21 when she's 30. It's not going to happen. And so when you're competing with yourself, you're always behind the curve. Always.
When you're competing with yourself, you're always behind the curve. Thank you, Brother Dave. Thank you so much. It's been a fantastic, intriguing, revealing episode. I tell you, this is one of the best episodes on this new conversation series. Finally, before you go, what's the greatest question you've ever asked yourself?
The greatest question I've ever asked myself was, and is, am I worth it? Am I worth all the effort that people have poured into me, all the love that people have poured into me, all of the resources that I've taken up? Am I worth it? And I answer myself absolutely every day. I answer myself, yeah, I'm worth it. And I think reminding myself of the fact that others have done a lot for me. And if I don't do the same for others, I'm selfish and I'm robbing them. And I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that person. We're all, like I said, going to expire. And I don't want to be on my deathbed thinking, oh, I had this magic time machine, and I went back in time, and my mom and dad never divorced, and I never had this childhood, and I went to Harvard, and I had all these experience. I had a good job, and I made millions, and I don't want to turn back the hands of time and do all of that because I know that I'm robbing others of what I've done for them and what I'm going to do in the future.
Thank you very much. Sensei Dave Armstrong. What a fantastic conversation. I love it. I love the energy you brought into it. I love the entire conversation. And for the audience from wherever you have joined us from today, I want to say thank you and thank you again. Should you have gotten anything that resonated with you, please take advantage of the wisdom you got from here and live it. For me, I have a philosophy I live with for the rest of my life. And it was carved out from the greatest question I've ever asked myself. And it was, how do you live your life? How do you want to live your life? And it took me time, probably months, before I find an answer. And I was able to create an anagram to each of the letters in the word L-I-V-E. And the first letter is L, meaning love others. Brother David, I said it all. You can't penetrate into the heart of these young boys without the expression of your love for them. And two is the word I in the word live is to inspire others. I like the Inspire to Aspire program you got. And that word for me means a whole lot. It means when you find yourself in a dying situation, you become the life once you step in. And that's what you do with your life. And I appreciate it. And the next letter is B, which is value of others. You know, I have this strong belief that we are all here to add value to humanity. If your life is not creating value and adding value, you rob the entire human race of our collective existence. So go add value. That's why you're here. And the last letter in that word, L-I-V-E, is E, which is educate others. And somebody said it well. He said, if you are planning for a year, you plant a corn. If you are planning for 10 years, you can plant a tree. But if you are planning for a lifetime, educate others, especially the younger generation. Thank you for your thoughts tonight, Brother Dave, for the education you brought to this show. It's been amazing and it's been powerful. And this has been, somebody said, this has been your best interview so far today, Ola. Thank you. That is not enough, bro. I'm improving day in, day out. And I told you, this is going to be one of the best conversations globally on being a man. Everyone has an adventure. Everyone has got a story to share. And I look forward to when I'll be on this show and somebody is interviewing me. Ola, you're going to be on the Being a Man show. Who knows whether it's Brother Dave that will be doing that, or a younger version of me that will be asking me this question. And I would be really doing it out because I have been through a lot myself. With that being said, how can we find you, Brother Dave?
Oh, man. You know, how can we find you? So, if anyone goes to senseidave.com, www.senseidave.com, you can find me there. Instagram at Dave in Greece. And my book, Why Me? My Fight for Life, or From Gangs to Greece by David Armstrong. Amazon, Walmart, Barnes & Noble, or free. If you don't have the money to buy it, send me a message and you get it for free.
Yeah. For my boys in Africa, we need about 20 copies of it because I'm going to run a course with that book. I mean, create a course for it. So we look forward to receiving 20 copies from you. And this will be in the Dave Armstrong Mentoring School. Why me? My fight for my life. Thank you, my great people all over the world. I love you from my heart. I'll see you on Monday next week for yet another wonderful episode. And if you have stories you want to share on this episode, or you got a friend who you know has a very great story to share about his adventure from boyhood to men, recommend him for this show, and we will be glad to have him and to host it. With that being said, I want to say thank you. Any parting word from you, brother?
I just love everybody. Thanks for everybody watching this live, everyone that's going to watch this on YouTube, on your B-Man YouTube channel, everyone that's going to watch this in the future. I hope that you get something from it. I hope that I've inspired you, motivated you to do something, anything. That's all. Love you guys.
All right, with that being said, so thank you, my brother. I love you. Catch up with you. Peace. Catch you, brother. Bye.
Bye-bye.